Good morning, good evening. How are you guys today?
Doing well, Phil. How's life down there wait a minute, you're not in Melbourne, you're in some other part of Australia with Jason, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm just down the road from Jason.
Sunshine State.
And has that made your life any harder, Jason?
No, I wish I had something mean to say, but it's only been good so far.
Now, Steve, I hear we're going to talk about some chaos today.
Well, there's a lot of chaos happening in the world right now, especially in the US, but that's not the kind of chaos we're going to talk about. I'm assuming that somewhere in your professional career, y'all have been involved in new product development, right? And out of that, what's the one thing that you would say typically happens within new product development?
Chaos, absolutely.
Oh, yes, I remember now. Missed it by that much.
You get the chaos, and usually it's because you get multiple revisions. You're trying to load some data and trying to get things set, and you get all these revisions. My experience is that's typically one of two reasons why that happens. Either nobody really understood what the customer wanted, or the team had really bad communication.
The cone of silence. I am deeply concerned about the conference room.
What?
I'm concerned about the conference room.
How's that?
He's concerned about the conference room.
Have you guys ever experienced any of those?
You probably get both, actually, and sometimes that is around silos of information and departments and things, but yeah, it's not uncommon.
That would be a real team effort, wouldn't it? I mean, you, me, the hamsters, and him.
Yeah, I've found that sometimes you ask for input and it's a little bit too much for people to visualize what the outputs they're going to get are. So sometimes I like to just throw stuff in there, knowing it's wrong, just to give someone an example to look at. I think there's a concept out there too that sometimes if it is wrong, people are more likely to comment. So sometimes just putting something out there is better than nothing, and then other times it's better to save your energy and really get that information and force it out of people, I think.
And in my project teams that I've been involved with, sometimes, people either won't even talk to each other, or when they do, it becomes, let's just say, non-professional, almost like, a wrestling match here in the US on Friday nights sometimes.
If adults settle disputes the way kids do.
All right, Jenkins, so you're not going to accept my proposal for the merger?
No.
Okay.
It's interesting. I think each organization will have different flavors of these issues. I think in amongst your functional silos, you've also got a few power plays here and there as well. And often as BC modelers, we're caught in the middle of that too.
Well, that's a good point, Phil, because at some point in the project, things can get so disjointed that people are looking for a savior type. And they're always trying to figure out who that should be.
Dun, dun, dun! I am Captain Chaos. Dun, dun!
A lot of people like to think it's the project manager, but in my experience, the project manager doesn't really have quite the technical information to get it together, so they get some strange looks and strange responses. The reality is you're looking for a quiet team player who's a techie, kind of a nerdy guy, right? But in a lot of organizations, you need a nerd because you've got all these different systems. You've got PIM systems, you've got PLM systems, you've got ERM, CRM, SPG, 92, you name the acronym, they're all out there, and somebody needs to understand how they all work. So somebody needs to pull order out of the chaos.
Mr. Spock, are you all right?
Yes, I believe no permanent damage was done.
What happened? The occipital area of my head seems to have impacted with the arm of the chair.
No, Mr. Spock. I meant, what happened to us?
But it doesn't always necessarily work the way the project team thinks it's going to work. Sometimes it actually looks like, The Last Supper and various iterations of The Last Supper.
Yeah, Fernanda, this is no good. All I got is a box. Okay, everybody want to be in the picture? Get up and go to the other side of the table. Come on. Hold it.
I find that if we're just focusing just on the VC aspect, that team or that person often is the intermediary. They've got to deliver something concrete. They have to make sense. I think back to your point, you need to get that project manager on board so that they can take care of the politics and the timeline to some degree to enable you to continue with your modeling.
Yeah, you have to mesh with technical people. Have to have that management skill and that social understanding, and the same thing with the technical people need to have some aptitude with the social side of things. So finding a nerd with social skills is just as easy as finding a project manager with technical skills, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because in my experience, typically that person comes out of your VC modeling team. So in many cases, the VC modeler will lead from behind and drive the direction of the project in certain ways, which can sometimes lead to a conclusion that is not what the company actually thought it might be. But in the end, it eliminates a lot of the chaos that comes out of typical new product introductions and at least gets you launched.
Dr. McCoy, I believe you're enjoying all this.
Indeed, Captain. I've never seen him look so happy.
Shut up.
Well, what do you know? I finally got the last word.
And I suppose just a little bit broader even than that, even just with model development in general. Often when I talk to people who are coming into VC modeling, they might be new or refreshing their training or whatever, is that in the early days, you're building a model based on facts initially. So the BOM might be quite well known or production process reasonably well known. And so you're building to that initially. But I always say to them that there's a point in the project where all of a sudden you have to bring other people's interests into the model, whether it's marketing, so your CRMs and things, or the production people need additional things, or they discover they can do additional things with VC that they didn't know at the beginning. So the modeler becomes almost the source of centralizing all the truths that are out there, I suppose.
Yeah, the term that I've seen used is championing the abilities of the system to the people, because I think that was a good point, is that knowing what the system can do can change the way that people look at it. The solution isn't always stretching the limits or using the capabilities that are freely open to them.
For some reason, I see a Freddie Mercury video here. So for those of you out in YouTube land, we're trying to do these in a little bit shorter format. So over here, or maybe down there, or over there somewhere, look for a subscribe and a comment button and tell us if you like this format better than our long, stretched out 35-minute format. And until then, stay safe, be healthy, and we'll talk to you all at another time.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll catch you next time.
Medical attention?
Go!
All I gotta say, it's not a very sporting way to win. What do you say, Father?
Not a sporting way. That's a shitty way to win.
We're gonna win! Help! Help! Somebody save my baby! He's drowning!
No, Chaos! No! No problem, fair lady. I will save your baby. Have no fear.